right, y'all. Welcome back. We finally hit Unit 15. We've got Unit 15, and then really the next few units are going to be, I say few units, a few topics. Might be one unit, might be 2 units. We'll just break it up what makes sense. But this will be the last really look at the Old Testament that we do. Um, so get excited. This is it. We're moving in towards the end of our discussion on the Old Testament, and we'll finish the year then with a discussion on the New Testament. Okay, so at this point, we know that the picture is not great, right? We know that the Northern Kingdom, donezo, right? We know that the Southern Kingdom, donezo. So how can the story go on? Well, you can tell by the title, right, that a few people return. But a couple things got to happen first before the Israelites can return back to the Promised Land. The first thing that happens is that Babylon. Remember, Babylon is the one that captured the southern kingdom. Babylon messes up, right? You could say Babylon makes a big mistake. And what I got here is just a little bit about Babylon, right? So you probably heard this dude Nebuchadnezzar, big word. Technically, this is like Nebuchadnezzar the second, but this is the Nebuchadnezzar that we talk about, and he's the main guy behind the Babylonian Empire, at least the one that we are most concerned with, but the most famous one as well. He's the heavy hitter, right? And then there is Belshazzar, who's the regent of Babylon at the time. So this is the guy that's kind of back at home, making sure things are going well. And Belshazzar, what he does on the oh no list, right? He does two things. One, depends on who you ask, but both pretty bad. Uh, the Persian army under King Cyrus is planning to break apart the Babylonian Empire. They've got the big X on them, and so they're planning an attack. At the same time, Belshazzar decides to throw a big party. Not the best time. And the other mistake that he does is that he uses these wine glasses, you could say these chalices, that would have been used in the Holy Temple at Jerusalem. And you probably can see where this is going. It doesn't work out well for the Babylonians, right? So the Jewish people read this as punishment to the Babylonians for putting themselves higher than the things of God, right? So, and I guess I should back up and say one other thing here. It's not as if the Babylonians at this point are unaware of who God is, right? In fact, the prophet Daniel is pretty straightforward with them, saying, look, guys, if you keep acting the way that you're going to act, if you keep doing the things that you're doing, God will have his vengeance. God will have his wrath. And Belshazzar even sees a sign of this. They see this hand writing on the wall, right? And basically, the prophet Daniel interprets this hand writing on the wall that your time has come. And so you probably heard this expression, right? So it's not as if the Babylonians are unaware. It's not like God's unfairly taken his wrath on them. But their empire falls largely because they believed they were greater than God himself, right? And we've seen that story play out a number of times. Well, wait, Mr. Flores, I thought you said that it was King Cyrus the Persians that conquered the Babylonians, but you're also saying it was God who's taking his wrath on the Babylonians. So which is it, right? Well, the Jewish understanding of this is that it's both, right? Is that God kind of guides the hand of King Cyrus, the Persians, to liberate the Jews, right, the Israelites. And it's not the case that it has to be one or the other, right? And so a lot of times when you hear arguments against faith, it's, well, faith is always wrong, it's just science. But it doesn't work like that, right? They can work hand in hand. They're not mutually exclusive. And so in this case, right, you have a non-faithful figure, right? King Cyrus, the Persian king, is not a believer in the one God. At the same time, right, there's no reason that his conquest can't also be used for the things of God. And so God, you could say, guides the hand of King Cyrus in overthrowing the Babylonians, freeing the Israelites to return back to the Promised Land. Cool way he does it, though, is that he's able to conquer them without the use of violence. And he then tells the Israelites, "Hey, look, I'm not the Babylonians. You want to worship your gods, you want to do your customs, that's fine. In fact, you want to go back home, like that's fine too." Now you got to remember, what they're going back home to is not great, and this is why most of the people actually remain in Babylon under the reign of King Cyrus, the Persian conqueror, because it's been a long time. It's been over 50 years. The temple is destroyed, right? Jerusalem is in ruins. People don't want to take the long journey back there, and so a lot of them don't return. So that's what we said. Only a remnant returns. But other than that, like King Cyrus, things are working out. He offers to pay for the temple. He's like, "Look, you guys want to build your temple back? That's fine." And you might say, "Why is he doing all this?" Like back in the day when you conquered someone, you usually took those people as slaves. You could also think of it, and this is what the Romans end up doing in the time of Jesus, right? Is when you've got a happy community um, that is not trying to constantly overthrow or hold a grudge against their overlords, right? You tend to be able to get what you want out of them. Now, the part with the Romans there, you get like, remember, render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, to God what is God's. There is a bit more of a very clear disconnect between the things that are Caesar's and the things that are God's. But right now, what you got is the hand of God working with the Persian king of this time, King Cyrus, to allow the Israelites to go back home. When they get back home from Babylon, like we said before, Jerusalem is in complete ruin. They're going to want to rebuild the temple, but this time it's a little sad, right? There is no Ark of the Covenant, so there's nothing in the Holy of Holies. It's not quite the same. And that's where we're going to end it for today with that it's not quite the same motif. Because tomorrow, what you'll see is that not quite the same lens by which, or say that, yeah, I guess you say the lens by which they view the world, but really that not quite the same mindset is going to carry on throughout the rest of the Jewish tradition, even up to now, right? It's just not quite the same as what it was supposed to be. And we're going to see this mostly played out tomorrow with the city of Jerusalem, that it's not what it was meant to be. And today, even still, is not fully what it is meant to be. Although we'll see when we get to the final two units that there's another way to interpret that. All right, so that's it for today. And tomorrow, again, don't forget to do the end questions. And then tomorrow we'll talk about what comes next from this remnant. How does Israel return? Okay, guys, see you in the next one.